So this is Samsung's S21 Ultra silicone case with the S Pen. Together they both retail for around $70, or you can just get the S Pen by itself for 40 bucks. In my opinion, the better deal, because I think you should get a different case because this case is not worth it. But let me explain why. So to start, inside the box, simple. You get the case, you get the pen, and you get some additional nibs, which is actually a nice positive because they didn't include that in the tablet. My tablet 7, which is like, why not? But yeah, you get additional nibs in case your S Pen's tips wear off. So the actual case itself, this thing, they're technically charging you 30 bucks for it. $30. Because the whole thing is 70 bucks. S Pen's 40 bucks. 70 Men's 40. 30 bucks just for the case. God damn, is that a lot of money. So let's talk about the finish here. The finish, it's a silicone touch, which means it's soft and comfortable, yeah, but it's also kind of dirty. This thing will gather smudges and fingerprints like a bitch, man, like a bitch. This thing is just so dirty in my opinion. Like, look at all those smudges. I'm sure you can see them there. And then it also picks up dust and lint whenever you're around that kind of stuff. So I think this is a kind of a dirty case. Whether some people agree or not, I think it is. It's a hard shell finish too, so like on the back it's hard, and then on the sides it's mostly hard. There's some spots where it's like true silicone, and that's where the buttons are and where the ports are. That, I don't understand it. I don't get why it's like that, but the negative thing I got from that is because sometimes when I'm putting the phone in, they get caught, like especially the button area. I find that it gets caught and gets tucked inside the case itself. And I don't notice until I go to use the buttons, and then I'm like, what the heck? It's tucked in, so I have to tuck it out, which is just weird. I don't know if other people have experienced that thing, but I have experienced that, and it's weird. I don't know why it's happening. And also, the port, since it's silicone and this thing is like thin, I feel like this could rip easily, so just something to note there. And then on the side here with the S Pen, it does add some width to it, of course. You all know that it's logical that you're going to store it outside of the phone, so you got to have it here, so it adds some width. I know that's a negative, making your phone width or making your phone wider, but it also adds one positive thing, which is when you're using your phone horizontally, you're able to put your thumbs on here. So that way you're not putting your thumbs on the screen. So when you're watching a video, your thumbs are out of the way. That's the one positive thing about that. Let's talk about that actually real quick. Where the S Pen goes in here, this little, pocket for it, I guess you could say. It's pretty okay. It's okay. The thing I don't like about it, or the thing I find a little odd about it, is when you have it out. You have it out and you're holding your phone. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. You just notice it that there's space missing here. It's not fully curved. It's not flush. So it just feels odd. And I don't know why I don't like that feeling. It's not digging into my finger. It's just feels odd, So that's one thing to note for that when the S Pen is taken out of it. And when you're putting the S Pen back in, just have to make sure you put it in correctly. And the correct way is making sure the flat side is inside or is facing out, and then the flat side is facing inside. So that way the S Pen is flush with the case. Otherwise, it'll pop out ever so slightly, and you can feel it when it's in your hand. You're like, that doesn't feel right. So you have to adjust it. And that's one thing, I guess, you'll just get used to after a while, making sure it's put in properly. But other things about the case, up here the cameras are all protected. Like each individual lens is pretty much protected because the silicone pops out a little bit, enough to protect the lens. So, but also that means that the camera bump stays, so there's still a camera bump. So when you put the phone on the table, you're still gonna rock a little, which is just not convenient because usually a case takes care of that. Up in the front, resivity, it does protect screen ever so slightly. There's enough resivities that when you slam your phone on the table or something, the little tops here will protect it ever so slightly, so that the screen doesn't get smashed onto the table. But protection, I don't think it provides the most overall. I think it provides the most. You can probably get better protection from like a different case, obviously. So like there's a speaking one that I know of that can be used with the S Pen. So protection, I don't think it's the best. And also just there's like I said, a lot of different negatives that I don't like about it that it gives. But anyways, that's the case. I don't think it's worth the 30 bucks that they're charging for, or technically charging you for. I don't think it's worth it. Only positive that I have with the case, just the clicky buttons and the protection of the lens. But then again, there's negatives to that. So take that as you will. Personally, I would not recommend getting the case. But I would recommend getting the S Pen by itself. Now, let me talk to you about this whole idea of getting the S Pen. Only get the S Pen if you don't already have an S Pen. Like if you have a tablet or you have a standalone S Pen, just don't bother with this, because personally, the whole idea that the S21 Ultra can use an S Pen is just so that you can like have an extra accessory. It's not a necessity. You don't need to have an S Pen to make or break your S21 Ultra experience. It's just an additional accessory, and that's something that I don't know if many people have like got in their heads. Like a lot of people are thinking, oh, this can't replace a note. This can't replace a note, you know? Well, obviously, no, it's not meant to do that. At least I don't think it's meant to do that, because the note is way more intuitive. You stick the S Pen inside the phone and take it out. Like you bought a note for the S Pen. You buy an S21 Ultra because you want an S21 series. You don't buy it just for the note or for the S Pen. That's why if you already have one, whether it be from a tablet or just you have a pen that's compatible with like the whole S Pen feature thing, then don't bother with this. Especially don't bother with this combo. Only get this if you don't have one and you're looking for an additional accessory. This is a nice additional accessory. Okay, I just want to get that out because I feel like some people think that they need to get this to complete their S21 Ultra experience. You don't. So that's just my little 10 cents or 20 cents or whatever you want to call it, just on the whole idea of S Pen on S21 Ultra. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I barely use this. And the reason being is because I have an S Pen with the Tab S7. And so that meant that I can just, because I was using that a lot on my tablet. So all I do is transition over to my phone and easily use that pen on the phone, which means I neglected this S Pen right here. But overall, I still think this S Pen is nice. It's not a bad pen. That's not why I was not using it. It's because I already had one to use. But this is smaller than the tablet one, but I heard it's also bigger than the regular Note series S Pen. Haven't used that one before. This is my second time using an S Pen or a different S Pen. It's got flat sides on two sides and then curved sides on two sides. It's got the button on one of the flat sides, which is nice. Nice to have the button. And I think it's pretty comfortable in my hands. It's not super big and not super rough. It's nice. But yeah, like I said, I barely used it just because I used my Tab S7 pen more on the phone than I did this one. So that's all I really want to talk about as far as the S Pen. There is no Bluetooth features on this, which means no gestures, which to me is no big deal at all, because if you know me, I do not like gestures. Some people might think they like it, but I think it's a gimmick. I find them more annoying than I find them useful, so that's why I don't use them. So not a loss for me. And there's going to be a new one later on this year that will have the Bluetooth feature, so if you like those, yeah, wait for that one. But yeah, otherwise, I think that's it. That's it on the whole review of this. Personally, not worth it if you don't already have an S Pen. Not worth getting this particular case. I think you should definitely consider getting the S Pen if you don't have it, or any kind of S Pen. If you don't have those kind of S Pens, definitely consider getting the S Pen alone, like for $40. And then I think the speaking one will be much better because I think, well, obviously the case, going off experience, off of old speaking cases that I've had, they provide way better protection, are much grippier, much more comfortable, and it'll save you money too, because $40 was $20, which is how much the speaking case costs, $60 total. $10 less than this whole combo right here. So I definitely think that's a better buy. And then if you already have an S Pen, don't even bother, because chances are you buy an S21 Ultra just to have an S21 Ultra. You didn't buy the S21 Ultra for the S Pen. If you want the S Pen to be with you the whole time, at all times, get a Note. Like, that's just way better, because this is unintuitive in my opinion, and it's just an accessory, not a necessity. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.